proceeds. But let me just double check that we are live on Twitter. Okay, let me tweet it out. I will go ahead and drop the link to you guys as well if you'd like to push the link on your end. All right, we do have Trooper in here now as well. Let's just go ahead and make sure the room is tweeted out on all channels, please, if that's okay. I just put out a tweet myself.
Done.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and give it some time. Let me go ahead and push this. Okay, we got some viewers in here now, according to Twitter. But yes, while we are waiting, or let me go ahead and start this off. While we are awaiting the Mad Meerkats, we will go ahead and start the event off now. So welcome to all viewers who are watching us at this moment. We appreciate you guys. And yeah, it's going to be a good event. You're going to learn a lot of info regarding all of the top NFT projects on Cronos. And, you know, it's mainly just a celebration of how far we've come in the short amount of time that this industry has been around. So welcome to everyone here. And yeah, let's make this a good one. All right, let's start it down in 30 seconds. All right, so welcome back. We are joined today by some wonderful guests, you know, the teams behind some of the largest NFT projects on Cronos. Unfortunately, it seems that the Mad Meerkats may be having some technical difficulties. So unsure as to if they will be able to join, but nevertheless, we do still have these wonderful people here. Let me go ahead and introduce or allow you guys to introduce yourselves and your projects. I guess we'll start with the Crow Skulls. Let me add you guys up.
Hi. So thank you to having us here. So what a professional live stream we have here with amazing, the introduction with the number, the animation, everything. So will introduce myself. I'm Dr. Lasky. I'm the community and marketing director of the project named Crow School. And if I could briefly say what Crow School is or what it represents, I think it's a decentralized social gamify ecosystem. I think the first one in the Cronos network. So we strongly believe in a community-driven project based on transparency between the team and our community member. We are really sure that instead of trying to solve a problem with in a 10-man closed in a room, that is our team, make the community participate in issues or successful utility launch with 100 people brainstorming idea as individuals will lead this project to a really bright success. Also here I have our community mod, it's a Curious Viking, but I'm sure he will be pleased to introduce himself. Thank you, Viking.
Hello, thank you for hosting this, Sergio. It's an honor to be here with all these great projects and Kronos news. I am Curious Viking. I'm a community mod for Crow Skulls, but I started out as a member of the community since Mint Day. The team's work ethic and innovative ability are bringing a lot of exciting ideas to the table, and the inclusion of the community really made me fall in love with both the project and the team. And my passion for the project was recognized by the team, which is how I ended up as a community mod.
Awesome. Great to hear. Well, I'm glad to have you guys here. So that is the Crow Skulls, guys. We also have the Cronos Chimp Club. I'll go ahead and add Eggs up here so he can introduce himself and introduce his project as well. How you doing, Eggs?
Hey, buddy. How are you, Sergio?
Good.
For those that don't know me, I am Chimpus Yokas, aka Eggs, for the Cronos Chimp Club. I'm the community manager, currently running the show with the core team in the back. We've been around for quite some time now, probably at the start of the Cronos chain. So if you don't know us, I hope you do now. I'll leave that with you for now, I guess.
Awesome. Great to have you.
Thanks, buddy.
In addition, we have Crypto Trooper from the Troopers Project. Let me go ahead and add him up here. How you doing, Trooper?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Hope you can hear me all very good. Just getting to grips with this professional setup here that Sergio's got going on, just like the Crow Calls said. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I guess we're in this group here, we're probably classed as the new kids on the block, right? So for those who don't know me, I'm Crypto Trooper, founder, community manager, project manager, basically general dog's body for all things in the troops. I'm one of three founders, along with LK the designer and Astra the dev, and we're basically held together with a bunch of phenomenal community mods who have all kind of come with us and grown with us through the journey, who all kind of work with us and for us pretty much for free, helping build troopers. For those who don't know, I mean, we've got a bit of an interesting backstory, which we'll get into, but essentially our overarching mission is to try and just create an honest, trustworthy, and dependable space for people to enjoy NFTs. And that's us, the troops.
Awesome. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. And, we're going to go more into depth about each of your projects as this progresses, but thank you for the introduction, Trooper. And lastly, we have Sequence of the Mad Meerkats. How you doing today, Sequence?
Hey everybody, good morning. Wow, so it's 3 a.m. right now in Singapore. I almost overslept. So sorry for that, for being a little late. So hi everybody, I'm Sequence, co-founder of the Mad Meerkats. I think just short one-liner about the Mad Meerkats project is, I think we started out as a project that was trying to teach everyone a little bit more of a holistic understanding of crypto. I think that so far so good. Everyone is sort of learning as we go at this point, and I think everyone has learned quite a lot in this past 4 months. Yeah, so that's what our project stands for. Also good to see everyone here. A lot of strong projects with us, a lot of OG projects in this conversation as well. So thanks for organizing this, Sergio.
Great to have you, Sequence. Great to have you. So, as I stated previously, the questions I provided are mainly open-ended because I just want to get a feel, of you guys' opinions and your guys' motivations and how your project came to be. So I'll start with an open-ended question. What was the inspiration from for your project? And I assume we could do this in the same order that I introduced you guys in. So I will once again reiterate, what was the inspiration for your project? Start with the
Okay, so this is actually seems simple question, but it's really a tough question because it's way more complicated than it seems. We could say that the design itself about our NFT was born over 7 years ago in the mind of our artist, Dr. Gico, that is also the store of the values of our project. And he's an European artist who has made different artworks in the pop culture in the past few years. But the idea of the project itself as a gamified social world ecosystem, I think was brought up during all the years that the teams have by playing RPG games or MMOs. So we are trying to really differentiate us to some other project like the DEX of Bad Market and really strict focusing on the gamification of our social hub and bringing what was the beautiful experience that we had in the past years in 2010 by playing MMOs into our Web3 app and introducing also a financial system in it. We could say that we also draw inspiration on how to achieve it by inspiring from the Cool Cats on Ethereum and our artwork and styles, also the releases of Core School Rivals, that is the end of our roadmap for these years, is like a Pokemon game style. I think that's all, Sergio.
It's nice hearing that you guys have taken inspiration from other projects and sort of molded it into your own vision. So I really appreciate that you guys are building upon things that you enjoyed from the past. Awesome. I will ask you, Eggs from Cronos Chimp Club, what was the inspiration for the Cronos Chimps?
Oh, it is a tough question, Sergio. It seems easy, but it's not. Well, I think I said it before. The idea of Kronos Chimp Club came as about as the founders have decided, like, the way they've met was via crypto and, being in different discords and different groups, being able to chat to each other without having to, any judgment or any, discrimination, whatever. It just became the idea of meeting people and then actually having an idea and growing together, and then obviously being in crypto together, making a bit of money together. They wanted to bring that into the space of NFTs, especially onto the Kronos chain being so new. The next part was the chimps came about as purely because they wanted something nice to look at while being able to chat to people and make that connection and make that network. Hence the idea of us being so focused on being a social club is because of that, right? It's because you can get like the idea of NFT in crypto, so you can meet other people, other like-minded people, and then build projects or build events or build something in crypto to make it work for everyone else. That's kind of the idea where it came from, and I think everyone's done pretty well in doing that for us, and I think it's the club is doing what we want to see now. And that's kind of the inspiration. It's nice to see that come into fruition.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think the chimps were one of the first Kronos NFTs that I saw really gain significant traction. So, it's nice to see the conceptualization of your project to where it is now. So,
Yeah, definitely.
appreciate the journey, Eggs. Yeah.
No, I appreciate it.
Trooper, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you the same question, man. What was the inspiration for the Troopers Army collection? Obviously, you guys have dropped a lot of other collections as well in a short amount of time, but just the original vision. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's quite an easy question actually. It's less about the sort of collection and the art, and more about the why, really. It's quite a negative reason actually. I mean, I guess we came together basically with a mission to try and just make the whole space a safer place. That's essentially it in a nutshell. Come from a number of negative experiences and bad actors and various different things happening within the blockchain, mostly over in Ethereum and Solana chains. Um, and yeah, basically just inspired to try and create a project that was a project for good, a project that could kind of move away from that negativity and create a nice onboarding platform that keeps its community safe and builds a general safer community around it. And that's basically our overarching mission.
Yeah, truly like the first defenders of Cronos, and you guys have continuously displayed that in your efforts against scams and your initiatives too. We'll be sure to talk about safe swaps later on, but
Right.
thank you, Trooper.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Sequence, could you just answer the same question for us? What was the inspiration for the Mad Meerkats? I know you guys were live on Ethereum originally, and if you want to start off there, feel free to do so. I think a lot of people would be interested in hearing that.
Sure. So I think for us, I don't think we need to start from Ethereum, because Ethereum was the way we started on Ethereum was actually it's a failure, and that was something that we never ever sort of tried to sugarcoat it. So our very core foundation of starting the Mad Meerkats is actually really simple. It's the fact that we all came from different chains. We were all in different types of projects. Some of us DeFi, some of us NFTs, but our motivation is the same, right? Because the whole team, we were all once the other side at the other side of the table, part of the community, where we are always at the back end call of like founders of different projects across the chains. And I think there was always this common feeling that we had, where we always had this idea that if only we were the founders, if only we were the ones that had the decisions or had the power to decide what to do in a project, we would have done this so much better for this project, that project, this project, that project. And I guess the motivation really came from just many years of pain, put it that way, because we just see so much inefficiencies in other projects, right? And all of us have this same motivation where, if only it was us, we can do this so much better in X way, Y way, Z way, or whatever, right? And I think by a stroke of luck, the whole team managed to find each other, and we all came together and realized that there was an opportunity that was the Mad Meerkats, right? We saw this as a team as an opportunity for us to do exactly what we wanted to do all along, which is to just do better. So that was the core foundational motivation behind every single thing that we do at MM, be it the NFTs or the DeFi side. Yep.
Awesome. It's great to hear the input from all of you guys. I think I'll just reiterate, because it is a great moment that we're having here. We're joined by the largest NFT projects on Cronos, and we're able to hear what your guys' inspirations were originally. So I thank you all for providing some context and some lore for the inspiration of your projects. Moving forward, I had a question regarding Cronos in general. There's a plethora of blockchains expanding right now in terms of user base and value. And you guys could have just as easily picked Phantom or Avalanche or Ethereum or Solana to launch your projects on. I'm curious as to why you guys chose Cronos in particular. Was there something here that attracted you, or was it just the potential that you saw in the chain? I will start with the Crow Skulls.
So actually, at the start, we was going to deploy our project on TerraChain, the blockchain of the Luna coin. But we got into Cronos not by accident, because three of our developers was heavily invested, if I'm not wrong, in the med markets in the Cronos chain. And they participated also at the start of the blockchain, the launch, and they pointed out the familiar environment that there was experiencing since the start of the chain. And we thought, since this will be a community-driven project, the main focus should be happily and collaborative community. So all this hashtag about the crowdfund, all the collaboration, all the positive talks that was about this chain, driven us to deploy this project here. Also because we see in Cronos potential, of course, but what will be a community project without his community, right? So the main point was the community itself.
Yeah, definitely a very strong and tight-knit community here. I don't think that you made the wrong decision in that regard. So the Crow fam is proud to have you, and I'm proud to have you here. So thank you for that. Eggs, I will add you to the question as well. What was the motivation for choosing Cronos as the preferred blockchain to launch your project on?
I think it's also the same reason, linking back to the first one, right? It's meeting new people. Obviously starting on a new chain would entice more newer people to come on through. And that's what we're trying to build as well. Again, I've always said before, community is the main thing for us. And obviously networking and building that connection with people. So that's why we chose Cronos. It's a new chain. It's inexpensive. It's not expensive to be in. It's an EVM. People can get a feel of what it's like before they bounce to a different chain. And why not start something fresh and I guess safe in a community vibe than on a brand new chain? And that's why we went for it.
Yeah, I mean, solidifying your presence on such a young chain could prove to be beneficial, and I think that especially on other chains such as BSC, NFTs never really took off. But for some reason here on Cronos, I think that it's a pillar of the value of our ecosystem. So whether by luck or by foresight, every project here, including yourself, has made the right decision, in my opinion. Let's go on to the troopers. Let me go ahead and ask you the same question. Cronos, any specific reason or just pure passion for Crypto.com and Cronos?
Yeah, I mean, I think to be honest, it was a combination of things. To be honest, I mentioned kind of us being in Ethereum to start with, and one thing we knew is that that wasn't the right place for us. Much of what we were trying to make better was already far too broken in that space. So really, we were looking for a young chain with plenty of growth opportunity, but more importantly, opportunity to learn from all those mistakes that have gone before and try and make sure that they didn't happen again. And yeah, then coming over here, and it wasn't really the CDC pool, it was more of the DeFi Cronos pool, to be honest, and started just kind of hanging out and getting to know the community. And it was kind of an instant connection of love, I guess you could say. We just knew straight away this was the place for us. Our 5 pillars, everything that we stood for, seemed to resonate in this young chain, and we knew that there was a huge opportunity for us to grow and take all the learnings here and make sure that we can continue to keep it that positive space that we all love.
Yeah, I must say, I in your Discord, I see these announcements, and your community is just absolutely insane, super involved, and probably one of the most active communities I've seen on the network. So obviously, you guys have done something right in that regard. But
Yeah,
thank
it
you.
takes a while to get there, right? It takes a while to get there, but yeah, we got there.
Awesome. And Sequence, I will go ahead and ask you the same question as well, man. Why Cronos?
Yep. I think for us it is also once again quite straightforward. Like Ethereum is always known to be that OG network where things are really more the infrastructure is really very established, the culture is really fixed, put it that way. Similarly, like Solana, it felt like there is really an inbuilt culture, you know. And when we were trying to look around for the other chains, we were always trying to source for somewhere there's like a fresh start, a new beginning, put it that way. Because the problems that we've had in all our experiences was that we felt that the core foundational values, or maybe the culture at the very beginning, was one that was dominated or at least sort of corrupted by just too much greed, put it that way. And the only way for us to even try and leave an impact was to find a clean slate, right? So when we looked around, Cronos happened to be one of those chains that was that fresh, clean slate that we are looking for. Um, I think this is where I would have to definitely give credit to Crypto.com because of their marketing powers. I do believe that we were looking at some other chains at one point, and then they bought over the Staples Arena, and that just put the whole chain on our radar. On top of that, in my country, Singapore, Crypto.com was also. I remember there was this period of time where every 15-20 minutes I'm seeing a Crypto.com advertisement on TV, and yeah, maybe their advertisements worked for us, and here we are on Cronos. Yep, that's why.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that you guys are all echoing similar sentiments that I share as well. I think that building on a young chain with the backing of a tier one centralized exchange such as crypto.com, it's a recipe for success. And I think that it's shown that in the time that we've been live since November. So, maybe biased, but I think that you guys have all made the right choice in regards to which blockchain you chose to deploy your project on. Moving on, this is a topic that I think resonates with each of your projects. Basically, the value of NFTs are usually directly correlated to the strength of their respective communities. What initiatives are you guys employing to ensure that the community built around your project is strong and lasting? I'll go ahead and start with the Crow Skulls once more.
I'm thinking, like, who is better to answer this question than a member of the community itself? Having seen the team from the community perspective and knowing firsthand what they do, the team really has the confidence of the community. Um, they never overpromise. They always overdeliver. They write the smart contracts themselves. The team is active daily. They are transparent. They engage with the community as well, inclusive of the community, spicing things up with the competitions and leaks, and always putting the community first. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves about the community's confidence in the team. Like over 93% of all Crow Skulls are on their adventures, the name of the native staking for Crow Skulls. As well as like less than 2% of Crow Skulls are listed for sale. Thank you.
Yeah. So, you guys are definitely building community out. And, you stated that one thing at the end about how less than 2% of Crow Skulls are listed for sale. It's really showing that NFTs are more than just, devices that you would use to turn a profit. It's really a meta identity, essentially. So you're part of a community. You're part of something larger than yourself. And I think that each and every one of you guys shares that same sentiment. I'll move on to eggs. What community initiatives are you employing to ensure that the Kronos Chimp Club community is strong and alive?
We've always said to our community, well, I've always said to our community, without them, there wouldn't be an NFT. We encourage people to go out and actually build their own projects. We encourage people to, we have events every night, almost every week. We have Chimp and Tuesday that's encouraging people to stay with us. And we're building metaverse in the background. We've got merchandise coming out. So we are constantly building around our community, but we're also supporting them in what they do as a business, because you own the IP right to, the whole NFT of our NFT. You can do what you want with it. And if some people have started a business like Tej, who's done a lightbox business, and we support that. People are lending out the chimp so he can do his business, and that's what we do. That's how we correlate our strength to it. To bring the value of an NFT is to make it to be the social club. So whoever comes in will get the support from the chimps. That's one thing we're doing that, and hoping. Obviously, it's working because it's keeping the project floor pretty strong at the moment.
Awesome. So essentially, allowing your community to utilize their own IP to go ahead and create something in the real world associated with the Cronos Chimp Clubs, or just absolute freedom, right? Just allowing people to utilize their NFT as they see fit.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and of course, if you decide to build a project yourself, you've got the support of 4.5K strong chimps. So that's part of it as well.
Awesome. Troopers, I will go ahead and ask you the same question, my man.
It's well, yeah, I got it. I got the question. I've got it.
Yeah.
Save you repeating it again. But it's similar to some of the other guys there, and quite similar to the Chimp Club there. We're really trying to. I mean, we're offering all sorts of loyalty programs and trait-based reward things. We'll touch on some of that more when we talk a bit about utility. But fundamentally, I think it's just about the ethos of Troopers, and I touched on those 5 pillars that I mentioned before. And it's a really strong thing that we believe in, and we want everybody who's part of the Troopers Army to believe in as well. It's not just sort of marketing gimmick. It's a thing that we really want to kind of transcend between the Web3 and this space that we're in and the real world as well. And we're going to we strive to kind of make those connections. So the 5 pillars being, connecting, being active, being aware, learning, and giving. And everything that we do, we focus either in Web3 or outside of Web3. We focus around those 5 things. And yeah, that's fundamentally what we do to build our community.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can disagree. When you guys have really put exposure, or not exposure, but brought attention to your community and the broader Crow fam, how they can avoid bad actors and how they could learn to be self-sufficient in a trustless and decentralized environment. And I think these are very important lessons to learn in crypto and Web3 in general. So I thank you for that. Sequence, I will go ahead and ask you the same question. What community initiatives are you guys pushing right now to ensure the Meerkat family is strong?
Actually, that's a tough question, because my answer is going to be a little bit strange, because it feels like there isn't exactly a new initiative or something fresh that we're pushing per se, because something that we have always been doing in the Burrow from day one is that we just come from a place where we want to build from within, from the ground up, where Canvas was my co-founder and I. We're just basically there looking out for everyone in the Burrow. We are trying to make sure that everybody is winning all together, and nothing has really changed since the first day and now. So I don't think that there is anything new that we're trying to do. We're basically just doing what we've always been doing, which is to make sure the community is genuine, is real. But I guess to answer your question another way, I think everyone here in this, do I even call this spaces at this point? It's called StreamYard, is it?
I just call it a room or something. Yeah.
Okay, I'll call it a room. I mean, wow, this tech is so advanced right now. But okay. I think every project here in this room, I feel like we all have this unifying way that we are strengthening our own communities, right? It's just that it's the fact that all our communities love what each project here is doing, right? I think the communities of each project right now in this room, we're all so strong simply because everyone loves what we are doing, for what we're doing in our own unique way, right? Like, for example, the Chimps is a social club. the troopers, it's the 5 pillars of protection. For us, it's about the madness. I think it's this whole idea that every single project in this room is staying very true to their core values, right? Everyone here is just in their own way doing what they're setting out to do. And the communities themselves can see that from the founders, right? Because a lot of us in the Meerkat team, we all come from startup backgrounds as well. So we all know the importance of how culture is really founder driven. And yeah, I do believe that the founders in this room especially have very strong values, and you can see that in all our different projects, which therefore leads to a very strong community, because the communities themselves can see this shining through in all our projects. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great to see you guys adding value to the community and your respective communities in your own right. Yeah, as you stated, each of you guys are providing something different. So it's nice to see that there's different communities and different missions, I guess I would say. As most of you guys are familiar, a lot of Cronos NFT projects recently, I think the trend of just launching a 10,000 set of generative profile pictures has long died out. And now the community really recognizes that you need more utilities. You need to be able to do things with your NFTs. And each of you guys, I believe, has employed, certain utilities that your communities can take advantage of, whether it be NFT staking, a token, a stable swap in the case of the troopers. I was wondering, could you tell us more about the utilities that each of your projects offer and the reasoning behind it? I'll go ahead and start with the Crow Skulls once more.
Perfect. Thank you, Sergio. Now, Crow Skulls, we have the Grave token, which is a utility token. It's a burn-on use case. So when you spend your Grave in the ecosystem, it's removed from circulation. Now, the Grave token was launched along with use cases already in place. And the first use case was that you can use your Grave to buy one of the limited seasonal pets for season 1. And later on, common pets will be able to be bought by the Grave token as well. Now, the seasonal pets are different. It's a collection of pets for each season, and each season features its own collection of unique seasonal pets. And another utility also available now is to add a story which is saved on the blockchain for your Crow Skull. Now, Crow Skull Socials is coming as well later on, which will bring a lot more utility as well. We have the Bones Will raffle in place, where you can buy raffle tickets to participate in the raffle, which is usually includes 5 to 10 prizes. And we already had a raffle featuring the Cronos chimps as prizes. And with the bank coming soon, and it's actually very soon, it's launching on the 3rd of April, you will be able to stake your Grave as well as spend Grave to purchase Wishbones, which boost your APY for the duration of the lockup period. And recently today, one of the devs spoiled something about buildings in a general chat, and I'm assuming there will likely be utilities regarding that as well. And I know the project has a lot of utility planned for Grave token as well, and it's only recently started to roll out the utilities, so we haven't really seen most of the utilities that they are planning to release for the token. And we already have, I think, over 100,000 Grave burned from people spending them on utilities. Thank you.
Thank you for that. It's always good to learn more insight into, the tokens and the use cases and dynamics of them. So I appreciate that answer. I will move on to Eggs of Cronos Chimp Club. What utilities are you guys thinking of bringing or are already live for your collection?
I guess that's always the question, right? Is when utility and what's utility? First and foremost, we are a social club. So the idea or the actual utility of the social club is the people behind the club, right? It's all the community members. It's, you get to meet other people who are in business that are near you. or for any crypto businesses, you can network. You never know who you can meet someone or get into a whitelist and make your money from there. And that's first and foremost. It's the connection that we offer. Second is the full IP right. We've already said this from day one. Is you have full IP right to do whatever you want with the NFT that you minted. Therefore, you can go and make a business out of it. You can then go do whatever you want with that. You can flip it. You can sell it. You can keep your NFT. You can frame it. You can edit it. You can do whatever you want. That's the idea of our NFT. And of course, we're building a metaverse to actually realize that that first utility is to be able to network. We're building a metaverse so that people can actually enjoy meeting people again, and go from there. But it is never to say that we don't have a token or a staking or whatever to come. That's to be implemented a little bit later. We kind of want to focus on and finish on roadmap 1, and that's what we want to realize. Because going back to the first point was what gave us the inspiration was to build a social club, to build a place where people can come out and ask questions without being stupid or thinking they're stupid, because no one knows everything. That's the kind of club we want to build, and I think we're sticking to it that for now. So yeah.
Yeah, ultimately, I think utility is utility, and it doesn't have to be present on chain in order for it to be recognized as utility. So,
yeah,
allowing your community the freedom to utilize their NFTs is plenty of utility, I think, to all listeners here. So, thank you, Eggs.
Thank you.
Troopers, you guys have the safe swaps, but can you elaborate more on that potentially, or some upcoming utility as well?
Yeah, I'll definitely touch on it. Safe swaps really is a separate thing, to be honest. It's never it wasn't actually ever part of the Troopers roadmap, nor do I really consider it utility of the Troopers NFT. It's more of a thing that we just ended up building and providing for the community as a result of some conversations and just recognizing a bit of a gap in a tool that didn't exist. And we were building some of that functionality into our own sort of staking platform, and it just made sense to kind of extrapolate it and try and make it a community tool. Obviously, if you do hold a Trooper, then you won't pay for the fee to use it, but the fee is very small anyway. So that's kind of how safe swaps came around. But in terms of our kind of utility from the project, it's kind of similar to Cronos Chimp Club, to be honest. I mean, we believe to be a true sort of OG traditional NFT project. We believe in the traditional NFT project. You have that kind of the Venn diagram of community, art, and utility, right? And people will kind of sway into whichever buckets of those there is more important to them. But ultimately, the value is in the NFT itself. And what we strive to do is just continue to build value in the NFT, in that asset that people own. That is the thing that we want to build value. And we do that through the community. We do that through further mutations of the NFT, like the Super Troopers, and then we'll have the microbes to come, which will spawn the mutants. So similar to like the Crow Skulls and these other projects, it's about continuing to generate value in the NFT through the community, through the lore, through the story. And of course, along the way, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff with the trait-based rewards. We've got a loyalty program. We build and we attach these things on as we go, but fundamentally, it's about the NFT. Quite similar to the Crow Skull as well. We have a future token of the Troopers token, which is a non-monetized utility token, which you'll be able to kind of yield through staking your Troopers. And again, that will be used to kind of purchase and pick up troop loot, which will contain all manner of fun things, from NFTs to bags of crow to more Troopers tokens, raffle tickets, a whole bunch of things within our troop loot system, which we hope to open up to other projects within the chain to also be able to stake and benefit and pick up those troop loot boxes as well. So it's there's a lot going on, but first and foremost is the focus on just the NFT and building the value in it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that just as you stated, building upon the value of your collection and just whatever that may be. I think you guys are doing a great job in that regard. So thank you, Trooper.
Appreciate
and Sequence, you guys at the Mad Meerkats obviously have a plethora of utility. If you want to just provide a brief overview of that, or explain your reasoning for the utility, either answer would be welcome.
Sure. I mean, when I first heard your question, I was like, how am I going to answer this in less than a minute? I felt like that was one of the extremely hard questions for spaces, because I don't really want to take all the time from everybody. So I'll just keep it really, 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 really short, and maybe I'll share something that I've not shared about, I guess, our utility in other spaces. Yeah. Okay. So in short, I think that for the Meerkats, our main utility is staking in DeFi. has a lot of DeFi platforms for those of you who are very new to Cronos. On MMF, MMO, all our main DeFi platforms, you can use your Meerkats to stake on there to get like additional amplified yield booster. On top of that, we also have tree houses, which is supposed to be this symbol of Web 3.0 social media that we are consistently going to be building upon. Also, there is also staking utility on tree houses for the Crow Meerkats, where you can earn our ecosystem coin, which is $MET. And of course, we also have an initiative called Under One Roof, where we have partnered up with up and coming, or at least projects that we love on Cronos, where their NFTs can also be staked on Treehouse. So Troopers is one such project under one roof in this chat as well, right? But I think more importantly, I guess for, in a way, our utility is that for our project, us at our whole team, we saw as an opportunity for us to sort of be free, because we feel that in all our real life experiences, we find ourselves in positions where it seems like there's always rules, like for example, in your 9 to 5, there's always rules that you can't break, right? Like there's always a certain manner that we have to frame our ideas, when just in the workspace, you have to obey some sort of like power dynamic, frame your ideas according to your boss preferences, just basic rules in life, right? And something that I guess in that we consistently try and deliver is this sense of empowerment and ability that we want to provide, or at least provide more feeling that everyone and anyone can literally be free to express themselves, to come up with their own ideas and just bring it to life. So that is the grand vision of really all our utility at Yep. So that is, I guess, something that I've never shared before, but it is the backbone of a lot of our thought process behind our utilities as well.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that you guys are providing very in-depth answers, and to those that just have an NFT of any of your collections, they might not know all the effort and all the reasoning that goes into building these communities and ensuring that value is there. So I just want to extend my gratitude to you guys for providing these answers. I think that they're very helpful to those who may be listening. And this sort of segues us into the next topic I wanted to talk about. Most people are NFT investors, whereas right now you guys are the builders behind these projects. And, over the time that you guys have been live on Cronos and building a community, I wanted to ask, what lessons have you learned since deploying on Cronos? What lessons have you taken to heart from your experience here? I'll start with the Crow Schools once more.
So, what we have learned in these 3 months. Okay, we could say that by developing what we consider a real product, I think that we have to be transparent with our success and also our problem, because as you said, most of them are investors, right? So I think you have to be 100% clear of what you are doing and let the community knows about it. It's really one of the key feature. Also, I would like to point out one thing that is keep going missing to someone who join the Crow project. Some people just blindly go in and buy our NFT, right? And you said they have investors. We have, I think, one of unique properties about our project is there will be only 6,666 NFTs. And those of NFTs doesn't represent only a PFP, but literally who own one of the original Crow School, it's owner of the project itself. Because every single asset generated now and in the future will be generated by who owns them. Also, the team have some Crow Schools, also the team generated, but most of them, of course, 99% of all the assets will be generated by the community. So by this constant being clear and transparent and keeping the focus about what we are doing this for the community. Most of them are investors, not good for them, of course, good for us. But the key focus of our project is to provide them utilities. And so we did. And so when we launched, we had a 3 years roadmap that will provide them to generate a new asset in the game. So I think the key feature that we learn, always keep focus for who you are doing and what you are doing, what is your main goal, and don't try to follow some new trends appearing on the chain and not trying to focusing on other things that you see are trending online. Just keep your line focused to your community, just keep what you're doing, follow your roadmap, work hard, and be clear with your investors or community itself.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of us can agree that transparency is key, especially in such a trustless environment as Web3, where trust and transparency aren't technically needed. I think that going out of your way to provide that to your community is just a prerequisite to a successful community. So I appreciate your guys' answer there. I will go on to Eggs now. You know, what lessons have you learned since the Cronos Chimp Club minted out on Cronos?
Well, the questions that we learned was, the main thing that we learned since launching was building a community from a very fresh chain is not easy. And obviously it has to congratulate everyone else that's here that's done it as well. It's not an easy task. People think it is. It's very different, the people that are in Cronos compared to any other chain, like the ETH chain or the Sol chain, or anything, the Cosmos chain. It's very different, right? And the one thing we learned, the community here is very different, and we have to adjust to what they like. And building projects on other chains or being in different chains is to have a more opening arms in the chain, and that's what we've learned while building our community strong. And it's always nice to accept other people's opinion. Look, we don't have to shut everything down. We try to fight, I guess, what a lot of people call FUD with a bit of logic. And that's something we learned that it works by taking the time out and explaining to your community what you're doing. That's in itself is quite important, in my opinion. And that's one thing we've learned the most is actually, instead of telling people to just kind of go away, is to accept them and listen to them and take on their suggestions if we can, and continue to build that way rather than constantly being headstrong and we just do what we do. Having a bit of a leadway to both community and us builders are quite nice to see, and that's something we've learned quite early on as well.
Great. Yeah, I think it ties back into the original. It seems overarching, transparency and just being open about what's being built. So
definitely.
Thank you, Eggs. Trooper, we'll go ahead and ask the same question. What lessons has this journey taught you?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think you're going to get like an overriding theme here, I think, from everybody, and I guess we would be no different. Transparency, authenticity, openness, and inclusion with the community. I think that kind of goes to the point that Eggs was making there. Like, it feels like a different community to some of the other chains. It feels like a community that want to be included, want to be heard, and they like a hug now and again. So like, bring them in and be part of it and include them, and they'll be forgiving, and they'll work with you and be patient and let you grow in the way that other chains won't. And that's the way this community is right now. I fully expect that to change, if I'm being honest, as we grow and as we become more like other chains. But again, that's part of that learning and part of our drive to maintain that level of inclusion and togetherness with the community and with the investors. To try and keep it this way would be phenomenal. So yeah, we also learned not to trust the tech behind the DeFi wallet. We learned that the hard way, but it's getting better every day.
Yeah, it's actually it's good hearing someone not so naive, someone that's this our community may change in the future, as you stated, as more entrants join. The culture may shift, and it may not. And I think each of us here are hoping that it doesn't change too much that from what it is at the moment. But if it does, I think that each of you guys have already solidified, the Chronos culture in a sense.
Yeah, and I think Sequence might touch on it, but as long as like we all and some of like the key core projects, everybody here on stage and others keep each other accountable and keep working together, then we should be able to minimize what type of change, or we can even drive what change we want it to be, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Trooper, for that. And Sequence, I will go ahead and ask you the same question. What lessons have you learned?
I actually feel like every single one of your questions can be a space on its own, Sergio. So good job with all these questions. I think that they're really high quality. Even for this question, I think that for us, it's gonna be an entire space once again. But I'll just choose. I guess I'll just choose the one that means the most to me, like the lesson that means the most to me personally, right? So maybe this wouldn't represent. Actually, no, it represents the whole as well. I guess the biggest lesson we've learned so far in our journey, in our venture so far, is that we that every single thing we do, we're very clear about why we're doing what we're doing. We understand the vision, and we also know the rationale behind every single factor. Because I think everyone here in this room can relate, right? That the situation of any announcement, of any update, of any decision takes into account many factors that are unbeknown to the Crow fam, right? As project founders, we have always privy to a lot of other factors that others will not be able to see or understand, right? And we make decisions based on that, right? So something that I used to be very affected about was when is a subject or a target of FUD. And then especially when we feel that this FUD is extremely unjustified, right? I think the very first time I felt this was in sometime in end December, early January, where it was one of the major sources of FUD. And then I think it's actually not about the FUD, because we know, as once again, like we know why we're doing what we're doing. We feel that the FUD is very unjustified, and we feel that it was easy to rectify the FUD, put it that way. But I think what I meant was, like, as project founders ourselves, because represents more than just a crypto project to us. It's like it's literally our opportunity, or it's something that gives us fulfillment and purpose, right? That we want to do better. This is our impact on the world. And I think we saw the FUD as just people sort of disrespecting and just disrespecting our principles and our values as people, put it that way. Yeah. So that was something that really got to me personally at the very beginning. And I felt that it was very mentally unhealthy, right? Because I after doing a lot of reflection, I learned that these FUD is actually just people not understanding where the project is coming from, and at the same time, it's kind of like unavoidable as well, right? Because in this world, we're all from different time zones, right? Like everyone in this calls from a different time zone. We are all in different parts of the world. We have different cultures. We are fundamentally different. So the way we see things are obviously going to be different, and that's not going to change overnight, right? So this is something that I learned very hard, but I feel like I'm mastering it, which is to never ever take things personally. And the fact is, if every single project team has very clear rationale about why they're doing what they're doing, then there's really no need to be personally affected by FUD, because our conscience, our vision, everything is just clear as day for us. Yeah, so I think that is the biggest lesson I've learned so far in our venture, to just keep executing on the vision and not be distracted by like the noise. Yep.
Very valuable lessons from each of you. I think they can be applied to a lot of people's lives. Just to touch on what you said at the end right there, essentially, if you're doing something right, or if you're doing something fulfilling to you, there's going to be people that are opposed to it for whatever reasons. But the whole thing is, it's the way you react to it. And if you continue to build with good intentions in mind, I think that's the most important thing. And each of you guys have shown that, you guys can continue building despite market conditions, despite personal situations. You guys are still here and still adding value to your communities. So it's nice to sort of learn about the people behind these profile pictures, because I think at the end of the day, a lot of people forget that you guys are more than NFTs. You guys are genuine people with genuine brains and thoughts and emotions. So thank you for sharing the lessons that you've learned on this journey thus far. Moving on, I know that we sort of touched on, the investors, people who join NFT projects with the intention of selling them at higher prices. And although this may not be what you guys are most concerned of, it is something that a lot of people pay attention to your projects for. And so in the case of a multi-year bear market, if it's a purely hypothetical question, in the case of a multi-year bear market and interest in Cronos and the value of Cronos also drops, what steps can you guys take to ensure that, the community value is still there? Or what steps can you guys take to ensure that value for your project in general is still around? I'll go ahead and start with the Crow Schools once more.
Okay, so a long bear market, right? So a few years, you mean, Sergio?
Yeah, just the traditional cycle, 2 to 3 years.
I think that how Crow School is designed will always reward his Crow School owner, because, as I said before, they will keep to generate a new asset for the game itself. We will continue to grow during the time, and I think, as you said, they are mainly investors, and they will get their investment back anyway, even in a bear market. We could find a positive way to it. It means that the new asset generated can be sold for a lower price, so a new entry price for a new member to join the Crow School ecosystem. Of course, there will be some downside, because we are in the bear market and we are in a blockchain ecosystem, so for sure there will be, but we are building a gamify social experience, so hope we can all be playing and having fun in our ecosystem meanwhile this time pass. For sure, one thing that our team is already developing but could maybe be improved during a bear market time is our offline product following the Crow School brand. So all the kind of merchandise related to the Crow School could be focused during the meanwhile of the bear market. But we are not a DEX, so I don't think it will eat so hard on us.
Yeah. It's a tricky question because NFTs are very, very young industry, and we haven't really seen how they can survive or if they can survive in these types of market conditions. But I think that they've introduced a new sort of necessity for Web3, and I don't think they're going away anytime soon. I think that in periods of downturn in the crypto market, I think that these communities will probably grow stronger, and that's my personal sentiment that I'm echoing. But besides that, thank you guys for your answer. Eggs, I will go ahead and ask you guys the same question.
Or in the event of the bear market, I guess we don't really have too much to worry about because we're very community driven, right? So even if we go through a bear market, chances are a community member is going to stay the same. We're still going to support them in what they do, and it also comes back to what we do as a social club is, people can come back and just relax and get away from most of the bad things that's happening. And we've seen it recently as the market did a downturn. People wanted a place to just forget about having to trade and just having someone to actually speak to and put their heads together and trying to make some money back together as well. And that's the idea of that community. So even if we do get into a downturn, we welcome everyone to join us, to find a safe space to hang out and ask questions and stuff like that. So we're not too worried about that either. We're very focused on building the community, regardless being in the bear market or bull market, because we all do it together. And without a community, there wouldn't be NFTs. And I think most of these guys here would agree to that as well.
Yeah, the real value is in the community at the end of the day, and human spirit obviously transcends downturn in crypto markets. So thank you for that answer. I appreciate that. Moving on to Trooper, I will go ahead and ask you the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And again, similar sort of answers. With the focus around community. When you do focus on being that sort of real traditional sort of NFT project, we're not looking. Our project isn't based on staking to create monetized value, to compound interest, or any of those types of things, which are all awesome and can be great for investors. But it's just not what Troopers is. And so with our sort of basis around the 5 pillars and a genuine community spirit, we're already building a genuine support network. We have people genuinely opening up, genuinely being supported in the real world, talking about real life stuff. And I'm sure it's similar in some of the other projects here too. So that's the thing. When it comes to bear markets, people are going to need that support maybe even more than ever. And so for me, I think it may even strengthen our community and strengthen our projects when we find ourselves in those places and the communities rally together to figure out what we need to do. We might end up just having more in real life stuff as we come out of coronavirus and we start connecting. That's what it's all about. That's the utility, is the community, the people supporting and growing, and sort of it's not just financial value. I know that's a big part of it for a lot of people, and we promote that, of course, but there's a lot more to it, I think.
Thank you for the wonderful answer, Trooper. Yeah, I think we all share the same sentiment. Community, the value lies in the community at the end of the day. So thank you, Trooper. And Sequence, I will ask you the same thing.
Yep. I think for us, something that we have realized even from the very beginning before was that we feel that NFTs, the rate at which the communities are expecting the project teams to deliver, I feel that is something that's extremely unsustainable. So I mean, we have that famous saying, right? Like a week in NFTs feels like a month. A month feels like a year, or even more than that, right? Like the past few months for does feel like a couple of years have passed, or at least I do feel a few years older, just from the little sleep that I've been having. And I think everyone here in this chat can relate as well, right? And I do think that this is something that's really unsustainable, and in a way that kind of curtails innovation, because there is always this expectation to deliver fast, right? And innovation is something that requires a lot of patience. And so for at least, a bear market might be something that's good for us, because it will then be an opportunity for us to actually execute on our bigger plans, our bigger picture plans that actually would require a lot of time to build and even conceptualize, right? So these are sort of like ideas that we've always wanted to execute upon, but we know that given the current crypto climate and also the market expectations, it is impossible, just because of the expectations of the timing and deliveries. So in a bear market, everyone is forced to be patient. So that in itself to us is an opportunity to just be building even bigger stuff. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I'm really enjoying learning more about, how you guys plan to keep this thing alive. And I've already touched on it before, but I think that many of you guys can see that Cronos NFTs, specifically the Cronos NFT industry, it seems to have been vibrant from the jump, and it seems to have been popular since day one. And maybe that's due to the NFT explosion in popularity last year. But from what I could tell, sometimes it's a little hard for NFTs to pick up on other chains. So I think that it's looking bright, and I think that it should be a prime place for NFTs to grow and thrive. So thank you guys for being here. Um, and moving on, I think we have two more questions left, and they're fairly straightforward, mainly focused on future plans and how you want to solidify yourself in the network. So to start, I understand that you guys each have different missions and goals in mind for your projects. Could you tell me what role you want your project to have in the Kronos ecosystem moving forward? I'll start with the Kronos goals.
Maybe I think it will be just a dream, but is what we are focusing on. We would like to be the innovator of the Cronos chain. I think we have some really good devs with really creative minds, and also the team is working with us to developing new utilities, but also to change the approach that the community will use to talk with each other. A simple example was the stories that you can put inside your NFTs, but this was just the start. For example, later on we will also introduce a sort of Luna Park with some different interaction between our community members directly on our web app. So I know it's a dream, but we would like to be the innovator of the Cronos ecosystem. And I think everyone wants to be an innovator in this kind of scene.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Dr. Lusky and Curious Viking. I will go to Eggs with this same question. What role would you like the Kronos Gym Clubs to serve for the Kronos network moving forward?
Moving forward, again, ideally, we would like to be the social club where people from all different kind of projects and within the space can come through and gather where we are, and we offer the safe space of no criticism, no hate, nothing, and just where we can just be human beings behind a screen, like without the nastiness. We want to build that kind of community as we go, as the Kronos ecosystem builds. That's what we want to have. Is, let's say again, you don't have to own a PFP, but to get into certain clubs, you're more than welcome to own them. But we want to just be able to create that space for everyone, for every NFT coming through to ask and just to hang out and just to chat. It's nice to see daily that we do have different PFP coming through, and it's just not the chimps, because we want to be welcoming. And that's what we want to do at that point, and be able to support like yourself and other people what they do, and just throw our community behind every one of these projects and make the space grow together. That's what we're aiming to be for the Kronos chain, and that's the kind of role we want to be. I guess the parent of the chain, right? If you want to say something uh, cheeky.
Thank you, Eggs. Thank you. I appreciate those answers from you both. And troopers, same sort of deal.
Yeah, I think this one's a kind of easy one for me, to be honest, because it's been written there in our Twitter bio since the start, before I even joined Cronos or came over here, from when I started this in sort of September, October last year. Our mission is to create an army of honest, trustworthy, and dependable foot soldiers who are supporting, protecting, and guiding the NFT community. It's as simple as that. It's read it straight off the bio. And just yesterday, there was a little exchange between somebody on Twitter and one of the troopers mods, where they'd come across a copycat project on CDC that had been directly copied from somewhere else, another chain. And they basically reached out to a mod in the DMs and kind of said, in this space, I don't really know where to take this information. And in this space, you don't really know who to trust or where to go. But I saw you with a trooper, and I knew I could trust you with this information. And when the mod shared that DM and that conversation with me, that was it. That's my proudest moment so far, and everything that we've done. Just that little conversation, because that's exactly what I set out to do with troopers from the very beginning, with my vision towards the end of last summer. And yeah, so I was ready to hang up my boots and call it a day. That's it. So yeah, more of that to come. That's exactly what I want to be.
Yeah, so people actively, seek you guys out to protect the community. I think that I've seen that a lot as well. You guys are really the defenders of Cronos.
We had a bit of a joke about it, right? In the early days, it was a bit, it is fun, and we had like the pew 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 and like, oh, troopers is in the room. But there's a serious message there. We genuinely want people to think, if they see that PFP, okay, that's trustworthy for whatever it might be, advice or direction or anything. Yeah, and that's the key message.
Awesome. Thank you, Trooper. And Sequence, I will ask you the same thing. What do you guys what role do you guys want to have in the Cronos ecosystem as the Mad Meerkats?
I guess for this question, I kind of feel that it's in a combination of some of my previous answers to your other questions earlier. I do think that for us, nothing has changed since day one. All along, we come here to create as this symbol of freedom to learn, freedom to get better, and just freedom to be yourself, right? And I think that for us going forward, honestly, if anybody just comes and see a meerkat and they see freedom and they feel empowered because they feel the freedom, then that is exactly what we have succeeded in doing. And I think that's sort of like the biggest success metric that us as a team is really looking out for, right? For just people to feel free. That's it.
Awesome. And so now, finally, we have the last question for this wonderful roundtable event that we've had so far. And it's the easiest one, I think, in my opinion, to answer. But nevertheless, I will start with the Crow Skulls. And the question is, before 2022 comes to an end, what do you hope to have accomplished with the Crow Skulls project?
So for sure, we will complete our roadmap and release the new roadmap of the next year. But you can mark down my words right now. By the end of this year, we want every one of our community members enjoying more than 20 different activities in our Web3 app. So spending time playing, socializing, and investing in the underworld ecosystem. You can write it down.
I'm pretty sure that we are going to have that written down and live tweeted. So, if you guys want to quote retweet it at the end of the year, feel free to. I'll send it to you. But thank you. Eggs, what do you guys want to have accomplished by the end of 2022?
Oh, end of 2022. Hopefully, we would definitely finish by our roadmap 1. I think that's going to be sure for every project here. And I guess the second part is have a metaverse where people can actually have meetings and hang out and actually be a proper social club. That's what we're aiming for, and that's what we're going to keep working towards, is to have that part. But yeah, and then hopefully halfway through roadmap 2.0. But yeah, that's what we're aiming for currently now, is finishing off roadmap 1 ASAP and build a proper social club for everyone to hang out.
Awesome. Looking forward to it over here. You might catch me there. You might see me around.
Welcome.
And Trooper, what do you guys wish to have accomplished by the end of 2022?
Yeah, I mean, from a pure sort of project delivery perspective, obviously we want to have delivered roadmap 1.0, which we're well on the way to, and then highly likely we'll deliver 2.0 as well. But kind of more importantly, onto the last point that I just made, really about our mission, it's just to continue to make sure that we create a happy, enjoyable, prosperous and safe place for everybody who joins the Cronos network and grows together. And if we can continue that, difficult one to measure, but I guess maybe we can measure it by the amount of rug pulls that hopefully don't occur, and by just helping each other, supporting each other, and making it, focusing on the positivity and just enjoying it. We mentioned it a few times recently, actually. Like, it's easy to get bogged down and a little bit too serious in all of this, and it is serious business. There's a lot of money at stake for some, and it's important. But we should all be having fun while we do it, right? I think a lot of people came into blockchain and Web3 to escape the structures and societal strains that were kind of forced upon us, and we kind of came down here into the deep dark underweb to escape some of that. So we should remember that and try and have a lot of fun and enjoyment while we're doing it.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think having fun is ultimately, one of the most important things in life, but also in these digital communities, organizing events and just making sure everyone is interactive with one another. So thank you, Trooper. And finally, Sequence. What do you guys hope to have accomplished?
This might be my shortest answer in all the questions today. For us, it's really clear. We just want to see the mad meerkats on different chains, just going mad with each other at the end of the year. That's it.
Great answers from each of you guys. As I stated, that was my final question that I had to ask you guys. But I've had such a wonderful time here asking you guys these questions. I've learned a lot regarding who you guys are and what the missions and motivations and goals of your projects are, and it's made me appreciate them on a deeper level. And it's also sort of given me hope for the future of Cronos NFTs, because I think that if you guys are any example of how a project should be built, I think we are in good hands. So if you guys wanted to provide any closing statements or closing words, feel free to do so. Don't all speak at once.
Well, I'll jump in first. I wasn't sure where you're going to go around the same sequence, but for me, just to thank you, Sergio. Really thoroughly enjoyed the space, and thank you to all the other folks up here, the other co-hosts, if you like. It was great. Mad respect for all the projects up here and many others on the chain. Shout out to my guys, Bad Alien Division as well, the bad guys, and. Yeah, just thank you for the hosting space. I really enjoyed it and look forward to doing something like this again.
Of course, yes. Go ahead, Viking.
I would like to add thank you for the space, Sergio, and it was a pleasure being here. And I hope you will do more of these again later on. And I also plan to make sure Dr. Lasky and the Crosscall team keeps their promise of over 20 different activities by the end of 2022.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you, Sergio, again, for this is the most professional space that I participated. Really, really well made.
I'll go next then.
I have really
just want to say a big thank you again, Sergio, for organizing this. I know it's not easy to find a common time slot for everyone around the world. And also, I think that such spaces are really, really good because it's always nice to have conversations where there are multiple founders in the chat, because it just gives a very multivariate perspective to the one same topic, right? And I feel that it's a very good learning opportunity, not only for the community, but just for us as founders. So thanks again for creating this opportunity, and hope to see you soon as well.
Awesome. Sorry, I think Dr. Lusky, you might have gotten interrupted a little bit there. I know that Sequence is having some trouble hearing some people, but
Sorry, Lasky, I didn't know you were talking. Yeah, I'm not sure
No,
why I'm
it's
having
okay.
some people in the chat, but if I interrupted you, I sincerely apologize. My bad.
No problem, no problem. No, I was just thanking Sergio, so I don't think nothing to add more. Thank you again for hosting this space.
awesome. Yes, of course. And Eggs?
Yeah, I appreciate it. This is by far probably the funnest space I've been into rather than holding a phone to my face. No, this is awesome. Thanks, Sergio. I'd love to be here more often if you do wish to have us, and hopefully we can have a good chat around it next time. That'll be good.
Of course, yeah. I know that
Really
some of you guys were a little confused going in because it is a new format. I think this is the first Periscope live stream that we've held, but I do really like the way these conversations flow. I like the way that
Yeah.
people have a visual to look at while they're hearing our voices. So
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
yeah, I appreciate each of you guys, stopping by and being comfortable with this. And, to all the audience who's come out today, to all the Crow fam who's been in attendance, thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you to Kyle for helping me live tweet, some of the best parts from this event. And yeah, that pretty much concludes it. Be on the lookout for more projects or more events like this in the future. To stay updated on all of these projects, make sure to check out their socials. You can find them on our announcement tweets. I will go ahead and retweet that right now. But yeah, finally, that pretty much concludes it. So have a good morning, have a good afternoon, or have a good night, depending on where you are in the world. And we will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys and take care. Peace out.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
See
you.
y'all.
Thank you. Bye bye.